And I'm live over here now, folks. Yep. Went from one to another. Yes. We've had fun with Blazing Saddles. Now it's the after party, and we've got Carlo first and Fluger last. Well, you're not quite last, Fluger. No, you're not last. I'm sure more than two people will show up. Come on. And of course, Josh Street pops right in and says, "Down with Furryland," and it's Hand Puppet. No. But here we go. We are on a new stream now because, well, I like to keep the Let's Talk ones separate and just to them the ideas and points. I hope everyone had fun with the earlier stream, though. And if you want to show some appreciation, don't have to, but if you want to, there's the Streamlabs. And of course, the StreamYard link was put in, so if you want to join me and come up and ramble on. Carlos said, "Nice guys finished last. It's only nice for the ladies." I am the Rainbow Momo Buddy. No, I'm not the Rainbow Money Momo. No. And I should put out the link on other places so then people know what the hell's going on. It is Thursday night, folks. My third stream of the day. And we have Darren up here. Hello, Darren.
More power, Rabbit.
More power, Rabbit.
So it looks like I missed the Blazing Saddles talk.
Yeah, we got that just a little bit over an hour, and it was done. We ran through. We did pretty good on that tonight.
Okay. Well, better luck next time for me, I guess.
That's that. Well, we can still talk about it if you want. It doesn't mean we have to stop with that. I just started a new stream, so the topic could go anywhere.
Yeah. The thing about that movie that it was that when I'm a little kid and my parents, for some strange reason, let me watch it. The only thing I found funny was the campfire scene, with all the burping and farting and such. Yeah. Because that's the kind of humor the little kid can grasp. And then of course, as I got older, every time I would watch it again, it would get funnier because I got more of the humor. So, but yeah, definitely. I don't think you definitely couldn't make that movie today. I don't think you could have made Blazing Saddles 2 years after it came out.
No, and Mel Brooks basically said he was done making movies because the PC culture is so bad now.
Yeah,
he couldn't do anything that would be funny these days.
No, he couldn't. That's true. It would have to be some underground film that doesn't get released and then, is just, super controversial.
Kind of like this Blazing Samurai movie that's supposed to be kind of an animated takeoff of it.
Oh, never heard of it.
We were discussing it early in the review tonight. Let me call that info back up again.
Yeah.
It's tentatively supposed to be released next year.
Mm-hmm.
It's an animated takeoff of kind of Blazing Saddles, but it has a samurai, and it has Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh.
Mel Brooks is actually doing the voice in it. Michelle Yeoh is in it. Ricky Gervais, Michael Cerna, George Takei.
you already kind of have an idea of what it's going to be like just by having Samuel L. Jackson in it. I mean, I like Samuel L. Jackson, but for example, there are some movies that one movie in particular I don't think he should have been in was that Tarzan movie. You know, but I just I don't have a problem with him trying to be in movies, but some movies just don't seem to lend themselves well to the kind of stuff he does. But
no, I don't think it'll go as bad language-wise as Blazing Saddles did.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And hello, Josh. Hello, Rambling Canuck. Hello, Carlo, for following me over here on Fluger. Yep, we've got a few in here tonight for the after party. Of course, it was pointed out that I'm going against Foley right now.
Oh, yeah, it happens.
Yeah, well, it's an alternative on a Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
And since a certain Trekker isn't doing Thursdays right now, I figured I would take the time slots up.
Yeah. Yeah, not a bad idea.
Gives people some place to go that are bored and have nothing else to do. And greetings for Mike Richards from Columbus, Ohio again. Mr. Miles is even here.
Wow. Gamescom was today.
Was it?
Yeah. They introduced. Well, they gave a release date for the new WoW expansion. They also have this new Call of Duty game. Takes place in the '80s, so they got a lot of footage of Reagan in it. And yeah.
I don't think Mr. Miles was ever in Kuroga. Jeez, folks. So anything going on with you lately, Darren?
I'm working on a video. Slowly.
For
steadily.
Yourself, or?
It'll be for my channel, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
You have to let us know when that comes out so we can make sure and find it.
Yep, I'll do that.
Josh does. His sister sent him a link for Sims 4 Star Wars DLC. I'm sorry, Josh.
Yeah, that's another game that got announced or delved into at Gamescom today.
I haven't played Sims in over a decade.
I think I played the original, but my brother was the guy who actually had the game on his computers. And I don't think I played any other sequels.
I haven't played World of Warcraft in probably 5 years.
Yeah, Shadowlands comes out in 2 months. It'd be a good time to try it out because they completely changed the leveling system for it. Now they reduced the max level to level 60 again.
Oh God!
And it'll probably be more like Elder Scrolls, where you level up to level 60, and then there's champion points or something after that help differentiate. But like, for example, there's a streamlined leveling process now where, let's say you create a character, you can you have an island that everybody starts at that takes you through all the basics, takes you through level 1 through 10, and then you have Chromie time, where you pick an expansion to level from level 10 to level 50 at, and and it's all tailored so that you quest through all the the zones, and then you're ready for endgame.
I just don't know if I want to get back into it, though.
I can understand that.
I played all the way from Burning Crusades up till just a few years ago, and I really don't know if I want to put that much time into a game again.
Yeah. I played from pre-release beta in 2003, and then I took a break during Pandaria, and I took a break during Cataclysm. I took another break during Pandaria. I played all through WoD, all through Legion, and then I took a little bit of a break during BFA. So
I almost went back when they went to the alternate of Classic WoW. Almost.
what you mean? You mean Classic WoW?
Well, when they relaunched a couple of years ago and had the servers for the Classic.
Well, that was last year. They did that last fall.
See, that's where I'm
Yeah,
in the
Classic.
head.
Classic WoW was worth playing just for a couple different. I mean, just leveling a character up to level 40 is enough to get the experience you want. Because you forget about so many changes. We've had the Cataclysm, start Azeroth and Kalimdor for longer than we ever had the classic version or the vanilla version. So there's all kinds of things where you go somewhere expecting to see a flight path that you can hop on a griffin or something, and there isn't one there because there wasn't one there during classic.
That's true, but I remember back in Burning Crusades, it was still a lot like the original classic, and how hard it was.
Mm-hmm.
And how if you were a hunter, you had to carry so many damn arrows in your bags.
Yep.
You didn't have room for anything else, so you really couldn't pick nothing up.
Well, you had a quiver or a ammo pouch that you were supposed to use, and they were these. Eventually they got these monster huge bags for ammo. But yeah, you're still it still takes up one bag slot, so you've only got 4 other bags, and then everybody else has 5.
Yeah, but if you were going into a dungeon to raid, you had to have more than just that. Well,
I mean, if you went in with empty bags, except and you had a full quiver or a full ammo bag, and it was like a 28 slot bag or something, that would do you.
And it took forever to make enough money to buy a mount.
Oh, yeah.
And that was just for the slowest one. Hello, Alexander.
Yeah.
I remember running all over the place because I couldn't afford nothing.
Oh, yeah. Me too. I didn't get my first mount on my first character until level 55. And, and then, of course, it was another 2-3 months before I had enough to get the Swift version.
And I remember the first time going to Outlands. Oh, that sucked.
You on a PvP server?
No.
Okay.
I was not one that liked the PvP much.
Yeah, I leveled a paladin in vanilla on a PvP server, human paladin. And that was an arduous task, to say the least.
But then there were certain things that I did miss.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like taking the Fell Reaver to Shatra.
And dragging it all the way there.
Dragging it all the way there. That was like some of the most fun things. You get it all the way there, and then the guards just start attacking it, and it's just sit back and watch mayhem.
Yeah,
that would make everybody mad.
I remember when I hit level 80, over in Northrend, and I came back to Outland, and I was able to solo a Fell Reaver. I had to do that. It was a moral imperative.
Oh, yes. As soon as you got up there to high levels, and you had to go back to the early areas and just whip on things that beat the crap out of you forever.
Yep. No, Classic's actually worth playing again. I actually think that. I truly do, because it's a much more immersive experience than current WoW is. And there's a reward of some kind every level, which isn't the case, anymore. So
I got ticked off with World of Warcraft when it started doing it. You could just group up with somebody, go do a couple of things, and you'd end up with an epic item.
Yeah,
it got ridiculously too easy.
The Wrath of the Lich King introduced the group finder for dungeons, and it was pretty bad. You did get if you went and found some friends to go with, though, you got a special buff
Yeah.
to make it easier. So there was an advantage to still being social about it, but they eventually took that away, and it was always a controversial decision. That's basically one of the first things that that Brack, managed to put in the game, and he, and Activision, of course, was behind it too because they wanted numbers, accessibility, and the dev team was always perfectly fine with some players never getting to see certain content because they weren't good enough, or they didn't level hard enough, or they didn't put enough effort into the game, and then all of a sudden it changed to, we want everybody to be able to see the content, regardless of whether they can only play for 5 minutes a day or not.
Jeff asks, why? Well, Jeff, if you want a different topic, come up and give us one.
Well, yeah, we can change topics for Jeff. That's fine. What else do you want to talk about?
We're just talking because we're the ones up here right now, Jeff. If you want to come up, geez, this is the open line part. This is where we just talk about anything. Right now, we're just talking about WoW because we both played it.
I'm actually more interested in seeing, the new Bethesda Starfield game, and then of course Elder Scrolls 6.
See, I never played either one of those.
Well, Starfield's brand new. The first game is going to come out, and that's Bethesda's third RPG IP. They got Fallout, they have Elder Scrolls, and then they're creating a new one set in space called Starfield. And I'm anxious to see that.
See, I still play Fallout 4 right now.
Well, yeah.
I will not play that crap 76.
Well, no, 76 is a totally different kind of game. And, to be honest, it's the same assets and everything that are already in Fallout 4. So if you play Fallout 4, you already kind of know what Fallout 76 looks like.
Yeah, it's just I don't want to play my Fallout game depending upon other players.
Right. Yeah, me neither.
And the good thing about Fallout 4 is you still got so many people making mods for it that the game stays fresh.
Oh yeah.
And there's people that are actually modding Fallout 4 to use assets from 76.
Yeah.
You can still kind of go play 76, but you're on Fallout 4.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind trying. I wouldn't mind, trying out 76, like maybe in 2 or 3 years when there's something to do. Because, but I mean, it never really appealed to me to have another like Fallout game on the side. Because that's what that is. Fallout 76 isn't a sequel. It's like a side, game, kind of like what New Vegas was to Fallout 3. And I'm like, no, I've already played Fallout 4. I want my next Fallout game to be even better. I want it to have a graphics improvements and things like that. And I don't need, just more of the same visually, just in Appalachia, And when I found out there was no story in the game, that there were like no NPCs and, and I just, it wasn't what I was interested in playing. So.
Now, see, if they would have done 76 like 4 and put the NPCs in and stuff and made it a single player game, I would have been interested. I would have done it.
Yeah. But then, you hear about how, the developer, basically the team that worked on Fallout 76 was a brand new studio that they had purchased out of Texas, I believe.
Yep.
And they had no experience working with the Fallout, game. And so one of the big criticisms was that all the same bugs that were in Fallout 4's release, which Bethesda eventually fixed, were back in 76. Because that was a team that worked on that game that had no idea, and there wasn't probably a lot of communication between the studios. So, it was just a major cluster, situation. You had, I think that, Bethesda's parent company pushed, and it suffered for it. I mean, people who beta tested that game said this game is nowhere near ready for retail launch, and they weren't listened to, and everything happened. You know.
And then they had the whole thing where the modders and all that couldn't do it, and that was the thing about Fallout 4 was the modders fixed most of the problems.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's the unofficial Fallout patch, and they did that for Skyrim too. The unofficial Skyrim patch that fixes like 99% of the bugs that are in the game. And I think what's funny is that I think the reason why Bethesda got away with it up until Fallout 76 was precisely because their RPGs are immersive. You get into it, you get sucked into the story, and once in a while you'll crash, or you'll have something funny where a body just kind of dances after it's dead, and the guy's continuing to talk after you've beheaded them or something like that. But there's still that charm, and they're still into the story, so they're willing to suffer through those bug fixes, those bugs. But in a game where there is no story, the bugs take center stage. And Bethesda, Todd Howard was always like to joke, I've heard that our games have bugs, like it's not this huge deal to them. Well, it became a huge deal with 76, and hopefully it will change the way they do things and try to maybe test it out a little bit more before they start sending it out to people.
Plus, Bethesda just got used to the modders fixing everything for them.
Well, yeah, they got used to that, all right, and that's kind of what I'm talking about, is that they didn't feel the pressure to worry about the bugs so much because they had a fan base that was willing to do their job for them.
And some of those modders come up with the best things in the world.
Oh man, the best Fallout 4 story mod that I had downloaded was, and I can't remember what it was called now, but it was where your character gets this letter, and he basically goes down to a sewer and falls down the ladder, and he's hallucinating, and there's a moment where you're actually in your old house from before the war, except you're like 2 inches tall. So everything's the size is magnified, and you see this death claw, like how death claws can how they scale down a building. They basically scratch. They're using their claws to break their fall as they're sliding down a building. A death claw comes down your cupboard, and it's just, and you have to get to the top of your refrigerator and stuff like that. It's just it was great. And then you get to another one where everything's upside down, and every once in a while you'll get to a computer terminal and you'll look at it, and the computer terminal will say, you better wake up soon. You can feel something starting to chew on your leg. It was just one of the most freakiest, little stories, and yeah, I won't spoil it for you, of course, but there's a lot of great moments like that in there, and then when you wake up, it's a rad roach that's chewing on your leg, and you have to, obviously when you wake up, you come to, then they scatter and you have to kill them, and it's just but you go through all these extremely whacked out environments that this guy did use, with the Fallout engine and assets. It was just really great.
I've been playing on mine this Fusion City Rising and stuff. That introduced the Brotherhood of Gold.
Okay.
And they're kind of like was supposed to be the original offshoot from the Brotherhood of Steel, but they're still doing things to help the people. Instead of just trying to gather all the technology for themselves and not really help anybody else. And it gets into this, it's like a huge DLC size quest lines, stories, underground transit systems to all the different areas.
going back to Fallout 4 for just a second, and the official DLCs. I mean, the one that and my two favorite ones were Automaton, because I loved making a robot companion.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other one was Nuka World, and because there was something that kind of hit home to me about roaming around in the ruins of an amusement park. Because my grandfather worked at an amusement park, and I used to, when I was vacationing with my grandparents in the summer, I would come in and he would take me to work with him, like at the crack of dawn, right? And one of his jobs was to start up all the attractions, and so you got to see what the park looked like when everything was shut off, and it was depressing. And then he'd flip all the switches and everything would come to life. The animated statues would start moving, and music would start playing, and it was that eerie feeling right before he turned everything on, And you go to Nuka World, and it's the same kind of feeling, except they're also trying to kill you.
The only thing that bugs me about the automaton one, the damn robots are always right up your butt, and it's like.
What do you mean?
Well,
you mean like they get too close to you?
They're always too damn close.
Well, I never had that problem. Of course, I use the mine don't have the legs. The Mr. Handy butt rocket,
Yeah, I put rockets on even Ada. I put a rocket on because she's too slow walking.
Yeah. That, and it's quiet, and they can move over water surfaces really easy and stuff like that, and upstairs really easy, and you're not hearing that constant clankety clankety clank. But the robot never got bumped into me. So I don't.
It's not quite how to explain. Not bumping in, but they always seem to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and would cause a lot of mayhem for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, they had a mod, I remember, for Skyrim, and I guess for Fallout 4 also, that always had your follower would never get in front of you when your weapon was drawn. So, you're fighting a dragon or you're fighting a Deathclaw or something, and what would always happen is right about as you're about to fire, all of a sudden your follower would get right into your line of sight, right?
Yep.
and there was a mod that prevented them from doing that, and they had other mods. The same guy made another mod for people to help save the NPCs. And where, let's say there was a dragon attack within one of the walled cities, like Whiterun, or let's say there's a combined dragon and vampire attack in the city. That I had a problem with that one time, and several NPCs that I liked died. Like Adrian at the Forge, and other people, and so he made this mod that has all the NPCs except for the guards run into their homes and lock the door.
My other biggest mistake was you got used to having to kill all these robots that the Mechanist threw out at you.
Right.
Well, I kind of ran into a certain ship downtown that had robots on it, and I thought maybe they were the Mechanists. So I kind of attacked them, and well, that didn't work out so well.
Yeah, you didn't get to.
I didn't realize there being a new player that.
That's actually a fun quest. That's actually a fun quest thing too. Sorry about that. Yeah.
It is a fun. Yes, Jeff Franklin, I do make mistakes.
That's why you always have to save your you save your games and your stages so that you're not.
And that final confrontation of the Mechanist, I always have to do it as the Silver Shroud.
Now, see, I did it once dressed as the Silver Shroud, and I didn't get any of the special dialogue.
Oh, I go down there as the Silver Shroud all the time because I love the alternate dialogue.
Uh-huh.
I just didn't like the fact that you couldn't really do anything with her afterwards.
Yeah, there was that whole Metron vibe that I got from her when he takes his helmet off and it's a chick, and you're like, oh. and she's like this mousy chick.
Yep, and you can't do nothing with her except for if you go back down there, you can sit there and buy a few things from her. But
Yeah, it was the journey. It was all the things you had to learn to confront her. Build the robotics bench, things like that. Um, the one of the best parts of Automaton, though, was the personality of the Jezebel um, robot. You know,
yeah, I'm cruel with Jezebel, and I make her into one of my supply lines.
yeah, I give her the ugliest body I can too.
I give her this purplish pink body,
Mm.
and I make her do supply runs between where the robots are that are running the greenhouse up to that little walled in town where you got to go and swim across and try to rescue the girl. And
Yeah,
I took forever, and I finally figured out where the best supply run lines to run them was,
oh yeah,
to the shortest distances. And you can't follow the map. You got to actually send them out and see where they run, because you'd think from where that is, where they're growing all the crops, going to Starlight would be the shortest route.
yeah.
It's not,
Hmm.
because they will go past Covenant first
Mm-hmm.
before they circle around. So I always make it Covenant there, and then Covenant line to the drive-in. And
Yeah. What's your favorite design of power armor?
see, I don't really use the power armor that
You
often.
don't. Oh, you don't. Huh? Okay.
The only
See,
time I use that was when I go down to find the children of Adam
well, yeah, that's the most practical thing to do is
in the
wear that.
irradiate, and then I just use whatever power armor I have at that point.
Yeah, I for the longest time I swore by the T45 because it was the easiest to repair. It required the fewest resources to repair. You only needed like 4 steel for each arm, and but aesthetics wise, it's weird. My least favorite was always the T51 because it didn't have like 2 separate eyes in the mask. It had just this one visor like
Yeah.
thing, and I didn't ever liked the shape of it, but. And that might have been another reason why I had no interest in Fallout 76, because in Fallout 76 they made that T51 armor the iconic armor of that game. They even gave away a helmet, of it. I'm like, well, if it had been a T60 or an XO whatever it was armor, then maybe I would have. But
For some reason, Jeff wants me to get out of Momo Signal.
get out of what?
The Momo signal.
Oh.
No Momo tonight. Hey, Keely. Oh.
So you said that, speaking of Momo, you said that Alexander got in trouble for streaming while at work.
Yes.
Wonder who caught him.
He said, well, he said some right winger took a video of his and sent it in to his boss. Of course, that's what Alexander would say.
Had to be a right winger, though, right?
It had to be a right winger.
Yeah.
But apparently he can stream from work. He just can't have the camera on.
Gotcha. Okay. Huh.
At least that's what he told me when he was in the stream last week.
Weird.
We're talking Alexander, though.
Yeah, that boy ain't quite right in the head, is he? See, I think you should begin every stream with a clip from Avengers Infinity War where Thor is saying, "More power, Rabbit."
More power, Rabbit.
Unless you don't want to. Are you trying to move away from the whole bunny suit gimmick?
I don't know yet.
Okay. Fair answer.
I don't know where I'm headed yet. I'm still coming up with more ideas and then probably implement them after I get done with the fall work.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a few ideas on the back burner, but I'm still teaching myself DaVinci so I can do more produced videos.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do that until I got it down just right.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have good looking videos to throw out.
Yep. Make it look like you hired Mr. Miles or something.
Yeah, make it look like I hired Mr. Miles. Even though I'm not, because I'm poor. I don't know.
Oh, another thing about Shadowlands. Okay. So during BFA, well, the end of Legion and BFA, they introduced this new thing called Allied Races, right? Which is basically just more races for you to choose from. Um, in the various games, they always had a rep grind associated with it. You had to be exalted with the faction in order to then qualify for the achievement, which then gets you the unlocks the quest that unlocks the allied race to your account. Well, they're getting rid of the rep grind now, so all you basically have to be is the right level, and then you just do the quest and you have the allied race unlocked. So if you wanted to play as a dark iron dwarf, for example, you could do that. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, it is. I'm just grabbing something real quick.
Okay.
There we go. Mr. Miles is always willing to help.
So I mean, like my favorite races in Warcraft are the two kinds of dwarves and then the Pandarans, because they're both heavy drinking.
And see, depending upon what I was, if I was Horde, I had to be an elf.
Really?
Yep.
I remember when Horde didn't have elves. You know, I remember when the Horde had an identity, and that identity was they were made up of monsters. Minotaurs, orcs, undead, and trolls. All very unsavory. And then the Blood Elves showed up. And it's like suddenly they started losing their identity as the monster faction. But go ahead. I'm sorry. You like to be the Blood Elves.
Yeah, I know. I like to be the Blood Elves. They're the best for mages.
Yeah, there's a new elf race. Actually, during BFA, both Horde and Alliance each got a different elf, a new elf race to add to their ranks. So on the Horde side, you got the Nightborn elves, and then on the Alliance side, you had Void elves, and Void elves are basically just blood elves with a whole different set of colors and different racials. But the Nightborn are pretty interesting because they kind of at first glance look like night elves, but they've got totally different posture, and they're more akin to the blood elf in terms of their affinity for magic and stuff. So, yeah. So if you were to come back and play, you might want to unlock one of those.
And my real fun was to go in and hide at the back of the little pond in Ironforge.
Mm-hmm.
just to cause trouble. But it would take me forever to get back there.
Right, yeah. Guards would be one-shotting you the whole time.
Then I'd have to log out for hours just
Yeah.
to make sure people weren't sitting there waiting for me to respawn at the back of that.
Right.
Come back a couple hours later, they finally moved on, and then I could sit back there and mess with people.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember one time there were these horde players that were in Iron Forge. They, this is during vanilla, and they were yelling, of course, and they were spamming, so nobody could say anything in like trade chat or anything because they would be yelling some gibberish, in red lettering, and so everybody had to go hunting for them. We found them in one of the little, one of the many little unused dwellings in that city. They were sitting in the corner just yelling constantly. And so we killed them. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Two level 15 undead rogues.
I did that on a rogue in Ogamar.
Mm-hmm.
I was a low level,
Mm-hmm.
but I would sit there. I could sap people. And I'd
Yeah.
stay invisible and just sap people, and it was driving them nuts.
Yeah.
Because I stayed in one little spot where the guards couldn't get to me. The guards wouldn't see me or anything. But I just like sap them and then go hide. And it was funnier than hell. I did that for like an hour one day, and they're just going nuts looking for me.
Yeah. I used to like to, when I was playing on the Alliance side, I had a priest. It wasn't a shadow priest. I usually played Discipline. And there was a village in classic WoW Vanilla WoW in Thousand Needles that was on top of one of those mesa pillar things. It was a Tauren village. And what I used to do is take my priest and I'd put his nose right up against the foot of that mesa. Now, targeting distance doesn't take into account vertical distance. It only takes horizontal into account. So then I just start spamming my tab button until I got a player. And then I would cast mind control and make them jump off. It was just, I had a lot of fun doing that. I'd take control of him, and he's probably like, "What the hell? Why can't I control my character? Why is he jumping up and down?" And then I ran him right off and, let him fall to his death. And, did that to about 4 different guys before some of them got figured it out and got on their mains and, came and killed me because I'm a clothy.
Yeah. Clothies are not that weak, though.
They're not. But
because
when you're mind controlling somebody, you're totally vulnerable because you're actually in control of the other player's body. So they would wait until I had, and then they would just, 3-shot me.
The guild I was in had this paladin. I thought he was like the best thing ever. And I took him down with my mage.
Yeah.
And he couldn't understand how in the hell a mage could beat him.
Yeah. This was in TBC then?
Yep. And it was like, you just got to know how to run your character. You can figure out a way to take, because he'd sit there and spam his healing shit and everything else. Thought he was bad shit.
On a mage?
No, he was on a paladin.
Oh, he was on the paladin. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. The paladins were pretty weak until TBC. Then they got better.
Well, yeah, and he thought there was no way a mage could take him down. And I was so good with my mage at that point. I was like, yeah, I'll show you. As long as you do certain things to stop you from casting and everything, you're done for.
Yeah. Yeah. The one of the funnest things, I leveled a paladin to 60 during vanilla. There was a glitch. A lot of people don't know this, but back in vanilla, every class really only had one viable raid spec. So, for example, a paladin had his holy spec for healing, and then he had ret, and then he had prot. Ret was for melee damage, and prot was for tanking. But neither ret nor prot really worked. You couldn't raid tank as a paladin. You didn't even have a taunt. It was all it was just not a well thought out spec. So, but there was a glitch. They had about 15 points into the prot tree. There was this ability called Reckoning, and if you put all 5 points into it, what would happen is anytime somebody hit you with a critical strike, you would automatically hit them. In retaliation, it was an automatic attack that would happen anytime you suffered a crit. But they had to be right clicked. If they weren't right clicked, if you just left click them or you just had them highlighted, Reckoning would store that hit. So what you would do in like a battleground, or if some rogue tried to gank you, is you would let him poke you. Now a rogue back then was going to crit about every other hit was going to crit. So all you had to do is keep yourself alive and count the crits, and then if you had a big two-handed hammer like Vergen's fist or something, when you waited long enough, you would right click then on the rogue, and he would deliver all those stored hits all at once. And if you had the right aura on or right seal on, that would also trigger more hits, and you would literally just kill him. He'd have 0 health because he can't dodge the stored hits. Those are guaranteed hits. And so it was called the Reckon Bomb build, and it was somewhat effective against warriors, but it was really good against rogues, and rogues were the terror of vanilla back then.
There was a short while when arcane mages were like so OP.
Oh yeah.
I would have to take breaks during raid fights, or I would just pull anything away from the tanks. The tanks
Right.
could not hold the aggro
Right.
if I went full out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every class at some point gets OP because of balancing issues and things like that, and it's usually corrected.
Yeah, it took about 2 months before Blizzard finally corrected it.
Yeah.
Hello, Rosetta. Hello, Robert. Hello, Richie. Hello, Jim. And then there was times when they said, well, fire mages were the OP ones, but I could still do just as much damage with my arcane.
Yeah.
No, Thomas, the Blazing Saddles stream is over. We ended that one. And now this is the after party, so we're just talking whatever comes up, and it's been video games mostly. Jeff's damaged. Of course, I always wanted to call into work and tell him I couldn't come in because I had res sickness.
Yeah.
But yeah, back in the fun days of video games for me. I don't know. 10 o'clock my time.
Is it?
I should just call this a night, say the heck with it, and see who's doing what elsewhere and harass them. This technically is my third stream of the day.
Yeah, you've been pretty active today, I noticed.
Yeah, and I was doing other things too, like doctor's appointment this morning, and at least my A1C level went down some.
That's good, right?
That is good.
Yeah.
Though they did test my blood as soon as I went in there to see what the morning reading was, and it was up high because, well, I drank a whole bunch of chocolate milk before I went there. But yeah, I think I'm going to call this one a stream and say the heck with it and see what tomorrow brings, and people are going to look at this stream and say, "What the hell happened? It's only 50 minutes long."
Yeah. Darren ruined it by coming on and talking about games.
No, you didn't ruin it. Nobody else wanted to come up when I started it, so it's okay.
They're all watching Foley.
Yeah, they're over there watching Foley.
Actually, he's done now. He stopped streaming 4 minutes ago. They should all be streaming in now.
There's not much of it, but there's karaoke going on too. Got Rambling doing that.
Oh yeah, I see that now. All right, well, I'm going to take off then. I'll let you close your stream out.
Yep, I'm going to close it down. Maybe I'm going to head over to Darth Hasters, see what the hell he's up to.
All right, talk to you later, Deej.
All right, take it easy, and thanks for everybody else popping in here. Have a great evening, and I'll see you probably at some point tomorrow. Jeff selling why? Well, I'm just tired. That's why. So, good night, everybody.